Welcome all to the April 13th, 2021, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. I need to read the governor's message. Excuse me. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Cindy Knox, IT Director at 978-772-8220, extension 150, or Heather Hampson, Administrative Coordinator at hhampson@ayer.ma.us, or 978-772-8220, extension 144 prior to the meeting. I'm going to have that memorized at some point soon, I have a feeling. So welcome all. I see we do have Mr. Diskin, I believe, joined us while I was doing the announcement. Good evening, Ken.
Hi.
So first order of business, now that I've called us to order at 6:15, is to approve the agenda. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz.
Seconded.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. It's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the agenda this evening?
I do. I have a terrible one, and I'm sorry, but I'm trying to go through the emails to pull it up, and do we have a date on the email it was in?
It came from Mark. Yes, let me give you a moment. Give me a moment, please. I'm happy.
I apologize, but I just want to be able to follow along.
That's quite all right.
Julie, it was combined with the information for the link to the Zoom meeting tonight.
It's in that.
From Cindy?
Right, yeah, it'll say Cindy. I sent it last week, but I sent it just before the meeting because other people couldn't find it either. So
Thank
it
you.
should be in a very recent email.
Okay, got it.
Julie, are you looking for the agenda?
I've got it up from your email, Cindy. Thank you, Mark.
Oh,
Thank
okay. You can always find it on the website too.
Now I hope I've got the right agenda. I'm going to double check.
Well, now that I'm looking at it, I vote aye.
Thank you. So, yes, I'm operating from the same piece of paper. Good. Thank you. So, without further discussion, we have to do it by roll. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
And chair votes aye to accept the agenda for the evening. Next on our agenda is a covenant or bond release, and I believe we have none for this evening. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes,
Thank you. Which brings us to the next order of business. Review Shaker Road subdivision. You guys are killing me with the typos tonight. Review Shaker Road subdivision plan, unless we've added a street in town called Sharker.
no, that's the old agenda you're looking at before we corrected the typo.
Okay, great, thanks. But the items don't change. Okay.
Well,
Right,
Let's get everybody on the same playbook. So, do we, Mark, why don't you kick us off while I'm printing this out for myself? I'm sorry,
well-
no. We have a discussion, please. I'm sorry. Mr. DeCarolis and Paul Alphin and for the John Carroll Reserve subdivision. Am I correct? That's the.
You're correct. I thought you were going to leave us to the end of the meeting, but I'm glad you're taking us up in order. I'm Paul Alphin, attorney from Westford, Mass. Back before you again regarding the John Carroll subdivision. I'm here with the owner, Peter DeCarolis, and the project engineers, Calvin Goldsmith and Nick Pauling from GPR. And we're before you for a simple request. The subdivision was originally approved with some slab foundations. And now that Mr. DeCarolis is in there constructing and seeing what the situation is and seeing what the market is, he'd like to be able to put in full foundations for 14 of the houses that are shown on the plans as a slab. He had his engineers review the plans, review the drainage, review the grading, and found that the installation of full foundations versus slabs would not change the drainage characteristics of the subdivision. It would not have any impact on the drainage design or the geometry of the lots or much of anything. Nevertheless, they put together a package showing what the drainage calculations would be, and they would fully expect that you would like the drainage information to be reviewed and perhaps have it reviewed by Mark Wetzel to confirm that GPR is being accurate when it says it's not impacting the drainage characteristics. The change of foundations doesn't do anything for the infrastructure of the subdivision, doesn't change the lot configuration, doesn't change the roadway, doesn't change any of those things which are the topic of subdivision control. We couldn't find the word foundation in your subdivision regulations or in the subdivision control law. So we'd like to have you conclude that so long as the drainage information that's provided by GPR pans out as not altering the drainage characteristics, not impacting the drainage design, that Mr. DeCarolis would be free to install the full foundations versus those slabs. And we are all here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much.
Chair,
Mr. Krantz, I see, I got a lot of squares on the screen here. I think, Mark, you had your hand up?
Mark.
Yes, I just wanted to mention, as Attorney Alphen mentioned, that I did forward everything to Mark Wetzel and Dan Van Schalkwyk at our DPW to verify their contention about slope stability, erosion, drainage, any impact on dewatering, to make sure that what they're proposing will indeed work. So my recommendation to the planning board is to wait until we receive a memo from our DPW as to the effect of their proposed changes on the subdivision before we make any motions, to sort of conditionally approve this change this evening. I think there was a reason why, due to the high water table, that slabs were shown as the predominant house type on there. So I think we just need verification before we proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Krantz?
Yeah, I have a question. So GPR did the engineering on the site plan that we approved, and it was dominated by slab. And now GPR has come back with engineering for foundations for, basements. And I want to know what happened, what changed?
Who's best equipped to do that? Peter, are you best equipped, or is Nick best equipped to respond to that question?
Nick,
Nick?
we're asking Nick.
Sure. The subdivision was done, and as we pointed out during the design, they were made up houses. They were placement houses.
Well, that's not entirely true, Nick. You actually had a table on the drawing showing the slab elevations. Why did GPR take the effort to actually show us the slab on grade elevations versus the, couple that had, well, 5 that had foundations? Generate all the grading that was required for that, create all the elevations put them on the drawing if it wasn't ever going to be something to be talked about or considered.
Mr. Diskin, if I could answer that for you, because that was the direction we got from the developer at the time. He had talked to his realtor, and the realtor had said, people coming into the houses these days don't care whether they have basements or not. It'll be easier just to do a slab foundation, and that's the direction we got from our client. And now our client is a different person, and they're looking at this saying, no, I disagree. I think we're going to do better selling these houses if we put a basement in. And they wanted to know if we could design it with basements, and we said, yes, you could do that, sure. And the slabs on the basements are all above the groundwater table, so we're not sinking these things into the groundwater.
Okay,
so
so
it's really
that's
not going to make a big difference.
So that's the first time I think the planning board has got the explanation as you just explained it, Cal.
Yep.
So you're basically saying, you're going on record as saying that you had a directive from the Madigans to design the original plans with slab on grade because that's the directive they gave you. And you proceeded according to that, and now you're willing to took another look at it with full foundations, and we know Mr. DeCarroll has bought it in good faith. We're not questioning, I don't think his.
Can you guys hear me?
methods. Excuse me, I
Yeah.
think you bought it in good faith, figuring you could do
Yeah,
whatever you could do,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I've been trying to talk. I didn't realize I had my mic muted. So I was
Yeah,
trying to
and
get to your earlier
also,
question.
Mr. DeCarlos, I'm also going to let you know that I have a full screen plus of pictures in front of me, and they're rather small, and I'm trying to
Yes.
keep track of what's going on. And before this launches into an open conversation, which we will do, I wanted to add one piece. Ken, are you all set for now?
Yeah, I think the important thing to me was to hear from GPR and understand the logic behind the change from their
Yeah.
end.
No, and I appreciate that. I really do. And thank you, Mr. Goldsmith, for putting it forward, because it seemed to be what has happened. And one of the things that we did as a board when this was first before us, and we have some of the neighbors in the room also, I don't know if you all can see that on your screen, and that is that there was a genuine concern about the height of the water table over there. And I believe that is what actually, in our first round of discussions about this, and we spent a lot of time talking about this, is the concern that the high water table and the installation of foundations would in some way, it would adversely affect the downstream neighbors. That was part of the conversation that happened. I believe it was 2019 is when these conversations took place. So I wanted to put that out there also, because when the request came through and basements were being asked for that didn't match the plan, kind of raised concern from the planning board's standpoint also. So does anybody from the planning board have anything they would like to say at this point? And Mr. DeCarlos, I also want to give you an opportunity if you would like to speak.
Yep. If no one else has anything to say, I'll speak.
Yeah. I've got, since we're all in different places on my screen, give me a moment. Okay. Mr. DeCarlos, would you like to take a quick moment?
Yeah. I just wanted to get back to your question on how the change came about from slabs to foundation. So when I initially bought this project, I knew it was designed on slabs, and I asked GPR if it was possible to do this with full foundations, and we looked at it, and they know where the water table was. So they said, yes, it could be done. So it was my request. I was perfectly aware, though, that the previous owner had it approved for slabs. We didn't think it was an issue going from slabs to full foundations. One thing I certainly don't want to ever do is to build a house that gets a wet basement. We know where the water table is. All our floors are well above the water table, which when Mark Wenzel goes through our information, he'll see that will be confirmed. But that's how that came about. It was from me. It was my request, and we looked into the possibility of doing it, and we didn't see any major changes or problems it would create. And one more thing, just to clarify. So the initial plans, 19 homes, 5 of them full foundations. So there are, I'm not going for all 19 on full foundations. There's 3 of them I'd like to build ranches on, which would be on slabs. Mm-hmm. 2 others are like a modern split entry house, which is kind of in between a full foundation and a slab. So it's not, there's 5 more right there taken out of the mix that are not full foundations, which help contribute to the less runoff, less impervious area, all the things you guys would be concerned about.
Okay. Is there an updated plan that has them called out on it?
Yes. Every house I'm going to build on the subdivision, GPR has the specific foundation drawn on our plan. I know what house is going on every lot.
Okay. Have we received a copy of that yet, Mark?
I don't believe we've received the actual plan. Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, or anyone from GPR.
Yeah,
Nick, are you shaking your head yes or no, Nick?
Yes, I'm shaking my head yes. It was What we actually did was provided the C 5.1 from the approved plan set, the grading, drainage, and paving. We provided that full-size page showing the updated houses and grading, along
Okay.
with the letters that were submitted last week.
Thank you. I'm going to just step in for a moment. We had a bit of an issue last week with staffing at the town hall. Part of the unavoidable life we're living in right now. So it might take us a little bit to get caught up with that, Nick.
That's
Okay,
fine. There will be email and hard copies.
appreciate it.
But the important thing too is that DPW has the full, or the change plan sheets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anybody else from the board have anything you would like to add before I open it to public comment?
Yes.
Mr. Diskin, please.
Nick, can you, as part of the final review and, I guess probably end up getting approval at the next meeting, could you make sure that that plan that you're talking about, and I think it's dated 4/7, I might have seen a copy of it, that you could make potentially a comparison plan? In other words, the plan that's the revised, highlight on the changes on the revised plan so we can see it against the approved plan, and either put the two together or maybe make a two-page submittal of some, put the two of them together. The approved one that's stamped by the plan and approved with the change next to it, and highlight the changes so that we'd be aware of it's pretty small when you start to blow it up on the computer. I mean, I have a pretty big screen, but it's still easier to see. That would be good for, I think, all of us to see the comparison between the two. That's something you can accomplish.
He already has
Move
that plan.
mountains, okay?
Excuse me?
It's something. I think there's gonna be more conversations, but yes, that could be a result.
Okay, so we can
Thank you,
see the
Nick.
comparison and know for a fact that the plan that Peter plans to build to and how it compares to the original elevation wise and so forth.
Fantastic. Anybody else from the planning board have anything they want to add at this point? Thank you. I'd like to open it up to anybody from the public who's here. And I'm going to ask you a favor. There are more people than can fit on my screen. So I'm not going to consider you rude if you speak up. Is that fair? That way I don't have to go back and forth between screens. And I do have a hand up, initials MDB.
Yes, hi Jeff. This is Mike de Blasio. I live at 60 Littleton Road.
Thank you.
I'm neighboring the development. Let me just pull my notes. A couple of things. The groundwater, I guess the question is, how is that even established when right now we're in sort of a drought? I remember back in 2019, it was mentioned that the groundwater was only like 18 inches to 2 feet below the surface. And then there was talk of possibly raising the property. Another, I think it was 2 feet to raise it to get away from that. Is that, I guess my question is that still in the works for the property? Another thing I would say is request a peer review from a third party engineering firm, just to verify that the numbers and the calculations. These houses are so close together that they're not acting as individual houses. They're pretty much, in terms of groundwater, they're acting as one large building. There's only 10-foot setbacks between houses. There's really going to be nowhere for water to go when they're stuck between the houses. I'm really against any sort of foundations. That back area is really wet. My backyard is pretty damp almost all year. I guess that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Does somebody from the project want to respond to Mr. de Blasio?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is that we had to go out and do soil evaluation to determine the depth of the groundwater for the drainage and across the site. We did that early on in the project, so that groundwater has been established based on modeling in the soil. which is the most conservative way to do that. So we're confident at the groundwater elevations that we've got. The site grading that we talked about during the project has not changed with respect to the roadways and utilities and the drainage basins. And the only thing that we have done is we've raised the first floor of the houses to accommodate the full basement that is above the groundwater table and added some fill. So, and I certainly take issue with the idea that this all functions as one big house. That's not at all correct. There's grading between the houses that directs the water where we want it to go. And those patterns of drainage have not changed based on raising the houses that we've raised above the groundwater table. So, and it will have no effect downstream, as Chairman Tillotson talked about earlier, because that's what our drainage calculations will show. And in effect, the DPW have two professional engineers are fully capable of reviewing this information that we've given them and coming back with an impartial decision on what they know. So basically, I think you have in place already the mechanism to do that. There's no need to get a peer review engineer involved for a minor change like this.
And just one more thing to add, if I could, and I
Please do.
understand.
Yes.
Yeah, and I understand, I'm not sure his MDBs, but I understand his concern. But the site, whether it is full foundations or on slabs, is a fill site. So with full foundations, it's basically with scratch and pour, where you scratch off the surface of the ground. And we'll actually probably whatever we pull out, we'll be putting down a structural material. The floors are basically at the existing grade or above it, because we are aware of the high water table.
Thank you.
I have a comment, Mr. Chair, too.
Yes,
just
please, Mr. Diskin.
in response to Mr. de Blasio. We did extensive, in defense of the approval, we did spend a lot of time on the subject during the approval. And I think, we took a very strong look at it from the beginning. I think what we're really at now is determining if this change is minor, and then we keep going. Because we did an extensive amount of research, brought in a third-party reviewer during the original approval. So I'm on board with the DPW and our own oversight to determine the complexity of the change.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin. Anybody else in the, Mr. Carroll, is it? I see your hand up. Thank you.
You're muted, Brad.
Hey, Brad, excuse me, could you unmute your microphone, please?
You
Thank
hear
you.
me now?
Yeah.
I'm Brad Carroll. I live at 58 Littleton Road. I live behind the project, next to the project. And the only concern I have, because I'm all for people building houses, it doesn't affect me. It just helps everyone. But my house instantly will flood if my sump pump shuts off. And the water table is that high that it pumps right into my basement and will flood everything. So I'm wondering now with foundations, where's all the extra water going to go from them pumping it out of the foundation?
Not getting pumped out of the foundations because the foundations are not being submerged into the ground. They're going to be, the floors are going to be, when they're poured, around existing grade, maybe even above it. None of these foundations get submerged into the ground. As I said before, the fill's being brought into the site, whether the houses are built on slabs or foundations. So with the full foundations, we're not just taking the first floor height of the slabs and then going 8 feet below it. We actually lifted the houses up to make sure that the basements are not into the water table. I imagine your house is probably probably built a while ago, and it was pretty typical for older houses where they were.
It's a nightmare.
What's that?
It's always flooding. The water here is a nightmare. So that's what I was just worried about, if the water was going to be pumped somewhere else and if it was going to make it worse or not.
Yeah, your foundation submerged in the ground. That's why you're getting water. These will not be submerged into the ground.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Anybody else? You,
Rebecca.
Ms. Jones? Please unmute yourself, Beck. Thank
Yes,
you.
hi. I'm Rebecca Jones and I'm at 66 Littleton Road, which is an abutter also. The wetlands portion of the property abuts me. And we share those wetlands. And my concern, like Brad, and as Mike has said, we have water and our house is only 11 years old. We are at grade for our foundation. And while we don't have to have a sump pump, we do have issues with a bog. And pretty much, and it's not official, but we have a vernal pool in the backyard. Surrounded by those wetlands on 3 sides. I just have some concern if it's going to increase the water flow into your detention ponds that will thus increase the water in the wetlands, because this is the first year after 3 years of drought that we do not have some seepage at the base of our foundation, and it's not damp. In a normal year, we're pretty much flooded until June.
Yes.
So, and the basement is dry enough, but that we don't need a pump. But my concern is that once this drought passes, is there going to be an issue with putting in the full foundations, not just for me, but for the houses you're going to build? Because right now, everything's been looked at. We've had 3 years of drought. And having lived here when there was no drought, I can say it's going to be pretty wet. Those basements will be damp. And I'm just wondering how that's going to affect the detention ponds as well.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Yes, go ahead, Calvin. Yeah.
Nick, you want to talk about that or you want me to?
I'll talk about it, that's fine. So again, the groundwater has been known and a major part of the whole design. That started with the design constraint of the detention basin, which required to be set at a certain elevation above the groundwater, which drove the height of the road. The height of the road is 5 feet above existing grade. The design of the subdivision sent the front yards and any roof area of the houses into the cul-de-sac and into and around and through the detention basin. The changes that we're proposing are structures that are above the foundation, above the groundwater, and part of the letter of support for changing it to foundations included an update of the drainage analysis as far as meeting the pre-development rates, just as we were required to do so during the permitting.
Okay, so what you've been, let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. From what Mr. DeCarolis has said also, then the floor of these foundations will basically be where the grade is now, and you're bringing in fill to go around the foundations that are going in?
That's correct. So again, with the roadway being 5 feet above grade, when you put a slab in, your living space is at that higher elevation. So as Cal mentioned previously, we've increased the elevation of that living space to allow for a foundation below it, while also reviewing and maintaining that bottom slab, the lowest possible walkable floor, is above the groundwater.
Okay. Another question I had was in order, and I'm assuming based on what we just discussed, this would not be the case, but in order to put in full foundations for these homes, I'm seeing a lot of rock coming out of there, big rocks. Would any blasting be required?
No,
Okay,
no. So those rocks you saw were surface rocks that we just crushed up into smaller rocks and put them back in the ground.
okay,
But there's no blasting, there's no ledge there. You may have heard some banging a few weeks ago. That's a hammer on an excavator, which we just broke up, we used to break up the big rocks, but there's no ledge there that required blasting.
Okay, all right.
So you pretty much the site work's done, Peter?
Well, there's lots of site work to do.
Well, I'm sorry, but the
Yeah.
excavation site work, I'm sorry.
But the boulders, the surface boulders, we've crushed those up and we've used those. It actually makes great fill. So we kept it on the site. I didn't truck it off site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
Other
Chair.
questions from any, I'm sorry, Rebecca, Ms. Jones, you fine?
Yeah, just one last one. I'm assuming you're changing the type of house and the foundation, but you're not changing where you're siting the houses based, on the original plans that were approved?
Yeah,
Correct.
pretty much.
The houses that were originally, the lots that were originally approved are reduced. There are relatively limited areas to move them around within the lots.
Okay, and the detention ponds aren't being moved or changed?
No, the limit of work is exactly the same. There's no additional clearing. There's no additional, moving of limit of work or erosion control needed to accommodate the changes.
Okay, great. Then I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Anybody else? Mr. de Blasio, would you have your hand up again? Or is it
Yeah,
still
I got
up?
one. I got one more
Okay.
question. It's
Go ahead,
it's
please.
separate. It's just separate from the water problem or water issue. It's for the developers. Is there going to be anything done for the large pile of dirt for dust control this summer?
Are you talking about the big pile of loam?
Yeah, dirt. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it's gonna get seeded. I will probably 2 or 3 months from now be tearing into it, but we actually are gonna put some seed on it. So
Okay.
it will stabilize, because I'm probably not gonna use the whole pile this year, but a portion of
Okay.
it.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from anybody in, I'm going to check my other screen here. I don't see anybody other hands up or anybody waving at me. Okay, any further comments from the board?
I'd like to make one final comment.
Please, Mr. Diskin.
So I'd like to just mention to the board and to the abutters that, Mr. Schultz, our building commissioner, will basically have the final on-site view of these foundation, the excavation, the placement of the stone and the footings. So we do have one final set of eyes just to assure the abutters that are paying close attention to what's going on the job, because Mr. Careless has to pull a building permit for each and every home. So in essence, it's 19 times that the building inspector will be looking at the 19 different holes. And I think I feel comfortable with that, with Mr. Schultz's ability to check that the final work in the field is going to be compliant with what everyone has designed. And that's the way I'm looking at it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So we're about to wrap this up for the evening. Mark, have you got everything that you think you need?
He's muted, but can I jump in while he unmutes?
Yes, please do.
I just want to say, I know Mr. Krantz is usually the one to say this, but thank you to the abutters for being here and for sharing your experience and also looking out for the future of Ayer and what we're doing. It means a lot to all of us as a board when the community is here with us. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mark, you're on mute, Mark.
Well, he's still working on that. I want to add one more thing too, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's just,
If I may,
Hold on, Mark. Hold on, Mark.
oh yeah, I'll let Nathan go. Yep.
I'll just echo, Julie and the spirit of Jonathan, and also, Mr. de Blasio. It's interesting. You do notice that this is a very dense development. This is part of our open space residential development, and it was many meetings with Nick and others to go through the layout, the number of homes, and so this is a very thorough process, and I think at this point we're just seeing if this is a modest change request, and if so, then it'll be approved. But there was a lot. You can go back to the records and see there was a lot of study done on this.
Yeah. Mark, you want to jump in?
Right.
And
I was just going to mention, Just going to mention that I had asked DPW to get their comments to me by a week from now, actually, April 20th, at which time I will circulate it to all concerned parties so that we can hopefully wrap up the discussion on our April 27th meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With that, is there nothing else? If there's nothing further from anybody, I'm going to more or less say that this is done. We're done with this agenda item for the evening.
Thank you very much.
And thank you all.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for all that done. I look forward. Sorry I hadn't get a chance to see the plans, but sometimes it doesn't all come together. But we'll look at them hard this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next on our list is a review of the Shaker Road subdivision plan, a vote to approve and sign the Mylar, discussion of covenant and surety. Mark, would you please, while the guys, I have vertigo and it's hard when the screen changes as often as it does. It's like being in an open elevator going up the outside of a building, a glass elevator. Mark, why don't you bring us up to speed with what's going on with Shaker Road, please?
Yeah, in the conditions of approval that were part of the notice of decision for the Shaker Mill Pond subdivision, it was agreed that the applicant would submit a covenant to the town, basic surety, as well as a financial surety to be determined. And in discussing this with the owner, Mr. Aho, several weeks ago, he expressed an interest to do a cash escrow account. And I thought that was a reasonable request, but I understand that his attorney, Mr. Shockett, Mr. Alan Shockett, is here to walk us through what the covenant could entail and also to maybe share with us the basic features of the financial security.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. The road is actually been started by Dan. He's in the process of installing the binder coat, sidewalks, water and sewer. He's self-financed. He doesn't have any financing on the property. And therefore, we don't have the opportunity to do a tri-party agreement or something along those lines, which is why we wanted to put up some cash to secure his performance. So what we were to propose was that a covenant be recorded on the subdivision, and that after the work is done by Dan, the binder coat, sidewalks, and water and sewer, as I say, the DPW would establish a figure for cost of completion after the homes are built.
After the homes, wait a minute, not after the homes are built.
No, well, yeah, after, to finish the road. To put on the finish coat, yes. After the homes are built.
I guess keep going, I guess. Thank you.
Yeah, most of the work would be done before anything is built. Anyway, the figure would be established at 1.5 times whatever the DPW established would be the cost of completion. There are 16 foundations to be poured. We would pay 1/16 of the amount established by the DPW to the town into escrow to secure completion of the road once the homes are built. And in exchange for the covenant releases to put the foundations in.
I'm on mute. Sorry about that, gentlemen and ladies. So if I understand it correctly, what you're saying is site work and road to binder coat.
Yes.
Money will be left with the town, and as the buildings are completed.
Well, actually, money would be left with the town in exchange for partial releases of the covenant to be recorded. The money would be established with the town. So as an example, $160,000 to finish, Dan would pay $10,000 per covenant release before anything was built, before any foundations were poured. To establish that escrow account with the town, so that once the homes are in and the road completed, there'd be money there to secure the town if it didn't get done.
So if I do them, so 160, we're going to use the number 160 just because it's easy for 16
easy,
units,
sure.
correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so magically the cost to finish the road is $160,000.
Mhm.
And for each building to be built, you're offering to pay 1/16 in, or $10,000 in this example.
Mhm.
If the development comes in with fewer homes, the road's still going to cost what the road costs, is one question. One thing comes to mind for me also in this one. But I think I understand what you're actually proposing to do.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna-
had understood that it was 16 foundations comprising 22 units.
Yeah, some are larger than others, but I think
Right.
to do the math in our heads, 16 and 10 seems to work for 160,000.
Yep.
I don't think we've seen. I was looking for it. We do have numbers, I believe, Mark, from the DPW on a portion of this.
Yes,
But-
based on all the work, being completed at
Yeah.
one time. The estimate from DPW for the entire road security was $805,293.
So, okay. So our example is a little bit off from the numbers. It is, but I think I understand what is being proposed or being asked for. What I'd like to do is open this up to, if Mr. Chalkett, I'm sorry, if you're finished with your.
Yeah, that's
Okay. I'd like to open up
yeah.
to the board and see if there's any questions we have with the board right now. And I think, if I may, logistically, we're going to have to put together this agreement. It's funny that you're asking for this right on the heels of us learning all about tri-party agreements. You couldn't have picked a better time to ask us to go
Yeah,
left.
unfortunately, there's no
Excuse me
third
if you can
party
hear me, I don't know.
to bring in. We don't have any banks, but
Yeah, but we've
Yeah.
been zigging, now we're zagging, but okay.
That's okay.
And somebody just spoke up. I appreciate that. Who was that, please?
This is Dan Aho speaking.
Oh, Dan, good evening. Yeah.
Good evening to everybody. I just wanted to clarify a couple things. I understand the 800 and something $1,000. What I think Alan may not be quite getting across is we plan to complete the road. And at that point, all we'll have basically left is the top coat and a few minor finish items on the side of the road, like the grass strip planting and et cetera. So basically, that number there is going to be considerably less than $160,000 to finish. So, we can use that number. Does that make more sense? I mean, we've got 400 feet of road already completed, ready for binder, with water, sewer, drainage already put in. In another 3 weeks, we're going to have about 600 or 700 feet of it. So we're not going to be long before the whole thing's completed.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Aho. I appreciate that. And we typically let the DPW help us with these numbers, and they turn around really quickly for us. So again, we had a little bit of a snafu logistically last week with our office, and I want to take the time now, because otherwise I don't want I don't want to go meeting to meeting without anything. Mr. Diskin, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I'd rather like this. I'll direct it to Mr. Aho, because I thought Mr. Shockett's explanation was a little contradictory at times. So Dan, you're gonna basically build the whole road. You're gonna self-finance it. You then have to turn around and put in the sewer system to Route 2A.
That will be done.
Okay, so that's part of, when you say build a road, that's part of what your explanation of that is.
Absolutely. That'll probably be done within the next 30 days.
Okay, so when the schedule of values came out, we saw that included that sewer infrastructure and the, the work under the road, the work under the wetlands and all that stuff.
Correct.
Okay, so that, I wanted to clear that up. So the schedule of values basically will be complete. That would include, also in the schedule of values you gave us, I think you had a better explanation, but you're gonna have underground utilities, you're gonna have underground electric cable, whatever else is going on, the electrical portion of the work.
Correct.
Subbases for lighting, lighting structures, lighting fixtures, whatever the case might be that's required, the street lighting. So berm on the road, binder on the road, granite curb at the entrance, pretty much the whole scope of work, granite curb around the perimeter of the cul-de-sac at the end, whatever it calls for, slope. And the only thing that's going to be left in your estimation then is going to be the top coat and maybe the top coat of the sidewalks. You're going to have binder under the sidewalks and that's about it. And final lumen seed maybe and some landscaping and so forth. Am I right on that?
Correct. You are correct. Yes. The only
Okay.
thing I would be looking for from the board, I would be more than happy to put up a much larger cash bond if they allowed me to put up a couple of models, not for occupancy, but a couple of models on the right-hand side as we go in, so I could actually have something to show people. And I would be more than happy to put up a much more substantial bond on those particular lots to start with till we got further along, but I could actually get started on them sooner and get the shelves up so that we actually have something to show.
I'm good with that.
I was going to say, I think models help a great deal. Don't know how we can work. I don't know that we can work the dollars and cents out of that right now.
No, that's correct.
But let me check with the other members of the board. Just to we'll do.
I want to go
I
through.
almost never do straw polls, but Mr. Krantz, Mr. King, or Ms. Murray, do you have any thoughts about
I
Mr.
got a little
Aho
more.
constructing a couple of models?
No.
No. I think we're open to that conversation, Mr. Aho.
Excellent.
No, thank you.
So what I'm trying to get at, Jeff, is that it looks like even though our requirement calls for a covenant, we may not need a covenant at all if Mr. Aho is going to build the entire thing before we request the first building permit. And then we're just basically looking at holding enough money at the end to finish the incomplete portion of the road.
Mhm.
So Dan, are you looking, typically when we do a covenant, what I'm getting at is there's a partial release of the lots, 1 by 1, 3 by, 3, 5, whatever at a time. As the, you get there. Are you basically asking for us to pass on the covenant, just go with a cash bond to finish it and then release all the lots at once?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to do that.
And then we'd have to draft a document. The document that I saw, I guess I was going to ask Mr. Shockett, this Form H that was given to us, is that your work? Whose work?
That
is
was
it?
just to try to lay out the proposal. Yeah.
Okay, that's about all it's worth. It's a,
Right, yeah,
okay,
we'll
so-
need a professionally prepared, document that.
Yeah, and there's one other thing I wanted to make sure we can do, and I asked Mr. Archambault to look into this. We were discussing it this afternoon. We just got to check with the town and make sure that, we're willing to take Mr. Aho's cash and put it in an account.
Yes,
Fair
I
enough.
was told by the treasurer that, an escrow account as we just described would be acceptable. It's a matter of
Okay.
setting it up.
Yeah, there's obviously some logistics that have to take place for this to go forward.
Yes.
Mr. Aho, I don't think the board is at this point looking at this as being a problem. Mr. Krantz?
Yeah, a quick one. I know this is, I remember we recently participated in a workshop discussing sureties and covenants. And this may be a brain dead question, but I just want to throw it out there. So with a cash escrow like this, should there be an issue or problem, what are the means for us to get access to that money? Is it just simply a determination by the board, or is there some other legal mechanism we'd have to go through?
Without, if I may, and Mr. Shockett, you can jump in also, but there will be remedies written into the agreement.
Okay.
Okay. Typically, they're a time frame, performance-based, and the money is in the hands of the town.
Okay.
And honestly, we become the referee.
Yeah, if it doesn't get done in the time frame according to the covenant, you won't grant extensions and you'll access the money to finish the project. So
yeah,
you're protected in that way.
We hope to never come to that spot. If there's an
Yeah, we
issue
do
with
too.
the project, by all means, our door's open. Please come and talk to us.
Mhm.
Thank you. Any other questions about, or have we covered everything we need to cover?
I just think, I guess the only follow-up for me is that we see a clear-cut document as to what Dan Aho's intentions are, which seem to be very clear for him. And he just gets it across to us and then we move on.
Thank
And
you.
I would say it needs to get communicated to the DPW.
Give me that again.
The intent of Mr. Aho needs to get communicated to DPW so they can make an accurate assessment of the cost to complete.
And I think
Yep.
I'd like to just mention to Mr. Shockett that if he could note in the document he puts together that all the work is in compliance with our subdivision control regulations and its so-called construction requirements or standards. And refer to that document so that we know that the inspections that are required and everything else under the subdivision control standards is part of Mr. Ahu's document.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin.
Okay.
It says on my agenda, vote to approve and sign the Mylar. Mark, have we got a Mylar yet?
Right. That has to do with planning board endorsement. And I think the only condition that needed to be resolved for at least the signature was final inspection or a pre-construction meeting with DPW, which was held a few weeks ago. And it's my understanding that Mr. Wetzel is satisfied with the, proposed work plan. So given that he was okay with that, I believe the plan is ready for a signature. And
Thank you.
that's,
And just so the proponent understands how we handle that, we'll do the voting here and then we all go to the town hall individually and sign. It's the only way we can do it logistically at this point in time. So understanding that we're all set with the DPW, Mark, may we have a motion, please, to approve and sign the Mylar?
I make a motion that we approve and sign the Mylar for the Shaker Road subdivision.
Seconded.
Approve, motion is by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Any discussion from board members on this?
Yeah, I just think Jonathan ought to amend it to include I think it's Shaker Mill Pond OSRD subdivision rather than Shaker Road subdivision.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Would you consider that friendly, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's a
What's
friendly recommendation.
Yes, I'd like to amend my motion for Shaker Mill Pond
Mhm.
subdivision under OSRD under the subdivision. Yes.
Thank you. Your second still good?
Yeah, still going
Okay,
through.
great, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Murray, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. King,
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
you'll work,
Well, something happened.
What happened?
am I gone?
You're up, you're back.
you're back now.
Yeah, okay.
That's weird. No, nobody changed. I got a little thing that said my internet's shaky. I live on the other side of town. Mr. Shockett, you'll work with Mr. Archambault on the documentation?
Yes.
Fantastic. We're available if we have any questions. Great, thank you.
I have a
Next
question
on
for
our,
Dan. I have
I'm sorry?
Question for Dan.
Yep.
How would you feel about the planning board or some of our members coming out and taking a look at the progress of the work?
Oh, yeah, no, I think that'd be fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for remembering that, Ken. I actually I was over there the other day and I thought about taking a look at it. So
Just wanted to make sure he's on
Yeah,
board.
the first 400 feet is gravelled, ready for base coat. Very smooth. You can drive up it, no problem. We've got some ledge further down that we'll be drilling and breaking up next week. So then we'll move it about another 200 feet. And we're starting to line up for the borings, but we're waiting for one final thing from the state for the tie-in over on Littleton Road.
fantastic.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
if there's any way, I don't know exactly how to approach it, but if somebody could relate to Charles about, I had mentioned to him about possibly building some models, and he said, well, he'd have to get approval from DPW and have access for the fire department. Well, he definitely has access to the fire department to get up there, but if I could possibly get some model releases and we have all the language proper, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, in thinking about that quickly, if you could send a plan with where you'd like to place them, that'd be very helpful.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, they're gonna want to look and see where the plan is to see, you know, God forbid something happens, they want to be able to get in there and do
Yeah,
their
they're
job.
right up by the red barn on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
so they're pretty
Yeah.
good access right there.
Yeah. But that'll probably help them, that'll help them along a great deal if they have a plan of where they're gonna go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, any comments for anybody else about that? No, I don't think so. Next on the list, A&R for Stephen Dunn, 5 Mountain Ave, one new parcel. May I ask who's here for that? Mark?
Yep, I'm here
Okay.
representing our client Stephen Dunn from GPR.
Okay, is it,
I
and
believe Stephen is also listening in. I don't know if he has video or not, but I believe he's here as well.
okay, thank you. So, Mr. Archambault, you get to do your
Right.
thing.
I was looking at the plan and I was hoping this would be a fairly simple A&R, but some questions came up in my research regarding the status of Mountain Avenue, whether it is indeed a road that was accepted by the town.
Hey,
I have
Mark,
one, yes,
excuse me for a second. I just want to take one step back. So basically, for people
yes,
who are interested in this, before the planning board right now is an A&R, approval not required. It's a thing we work on when somebody wants to divide or do work on a lot in general terms. And on 5 Mountain Ave, the request is to take one large lot and turn it into 2 pieces. Okay. And what Mark's jumping in and talking about is what's going on with the road Mountain Avenue. So why don't you go ahead, Mark, and talk about that, just so people kind of all on the same page.
yeah, I wanted to ask GPR, do you have a plan to share later on the screen? That
Yeah,
might,
we need the plan.
I actually have it in front of me, if you'd like me to
okay,
share it.
yeah, if you'd like to, just so we have a visual to go by.
Oh, sharing is disabled right now. We'll ask to have it enabled, please. Thank you.
Oh, I think I
Hello,
have
Jack.
screen share ability here, so let me look for it.
You're good, Jeff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I am. So I just
There it
popped it
goes.
open for you.
Yep, that's it. So, Mountain Ave, ends at the end of what is shown as Lot 1, the driveway entering that house. Parcel A appears to be on what I believe would be a paper street part of Mountain Ave, which I'm not sure what the legal standing is. It's something that I would like to have determined through this process eventually. So my main concern is what effect dividing parcel A off of the entire tract there could have on the abutters, because my understanding is where you have a paper street, the ownership of the abutting lots goes to the center line of the paper street. So we just want to be careful that anything that we do to endorse the A&R plan doesn't affect the rights of the abutters in the future.
Thank
And
you.
and one other minor thing, we caught a few minor errors on the plan sheet. The minimum frontage in the A2 district is 100 feet, not 150 feet. And yeah, I want to take it from there. So basically, the concerns are, what is the status of Mountain Road beyond that paved portion? And was Mountain Road ever formally accepted by the town at a town meeting in the past? It could be many years ago, but
This is the $1 million question.
yep.
But
it's not that much, Mark, but close.
So, we did quite a bit of research on this and, tried to get a definitive answer on what the remaining portion of Mountain Avenue, is considered. We do have a document from, say off the top of my head, but I want to say 1978, where Mountain Avenue is listed as an accepted roadway in Ayer. It was actually provided from your town offices. So we do have that. It is maintained by the town. So, the remaining of Mountain Ave beyond the pavement, there's nothing saying, typically if it were to be discontinued and no longer considered a right of way, there would have to be documentation stating that. that the, the right of way does end right there. We cannot find such documentation. So we're under the impression that the entirety of Mountain Avenue is still about, a right of way. In addition to that, previously the lot across from Mountain Ave was subdivided and it did use the frontage of Mountain Ave. I don't have that plan currently to share my screen and show you, but that was created using the frontage of Mountain Ave directly across the street from house number 5. So that kind of gave us the idea that this was viable frontage and that, you could create a parcel off of this frontage.
Well,
So I'm going to ask you a quick question, Mark, while I'm looking at this, and I don't know if you can see my mouse on the screen.
Ken?
This here is you're referring to this area below
Correct.
was subdivided.
Correct.
So Mountain Ave actually existed at that point in time. The improved portion of Mountain Ave Nick's head is nodding yes, because one of the questions we have also is frontage needs to be on an improved accepted right of way.
Correct.
Again, you're asking for a non-buildable lot right now in this plan.
Correct.
Okay. I also know that you've been working closely with DPW on a sewer connect and a water connect for not only number 5, but also a possible building being put on parcel A.
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
So Nathan, do you have a question? I saw your hand go up on, no? Okay. Anybody from the board have any questions? Excuse me, Susan.
I have quite a lot, actually.
Okay.
And I'm glad.
You all just shifted again on my screen, so I got to know where to look.
Also, Jeff, I want to mention too that I noticed that Susan Copeland, our town clerk, has her hand raised, and she may have some pertinent information as to the status of Mountain Ave.
Yeah, thanks. I actually saw Susan hand go up also. Ken, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm going to recommend that we reject this plan because it's not in compliance with even our submittal requirements for our A&R requirements just to submit the plan for approval. And I'll tell you a number of reasons why. First of all, just the indication of the word using, if you want to blow that up or bigger, I can show you on the screen or I can just rattle it off.
Let me see if I can get that done for you.
Yeah, right
There's
there.
a lot of deficiencies in the drawing itself that don't give us what we need.
You want to be upper right corner, lower? Where do you want to be? In the
All right,
notes?
just that's good right there.
Okay.
So just the use of the word public way on the drawing under our regulations requires a proof of public way evidence that be submitted to us. I don't even see the public way being the right of way being shown as its full width. This is basically showing, land on one side of a guessed about public way. We don't know that it is really a public way. There's no evidence unless he's provided it to the planner and the planner didn't give it to us, so we have no package. So that is a deficiency. Our requirements also call for any notification, like 5-foot contours on the plan. There's no contours shown. Any other jurisdictional information that should be required. I don't know if there's some wetland there or brooks, something along those lines that's not shown. And basically the whole layout of I want to go to the language. So I got 2 or 3 things. The other thing is the scale of the drawing is wrong. It's showing at 1 inch to 30 would require 1 inch to 40. And in the notes, Mark already pointed out the frontage requirement is 100 feet, not 150. We know that in A2. But more importantly, the note for note 2, my preference would be that this note be reduced to what it really is, which is parcel A is not a building lot, period. The other language inserted until improvements and all the other is, to me, has nothing to do with this drawing at this point in time, since we are allowed to approve the drawing as a parcel, which is fine, and a lot. But the whole adding of that language until improvements to and doesn't even belong in the plan as far as I'm concerned. So I would endorse the plan in the future if it comes back as the parcel with a note, clear note. and the description of the evidence that it is a public way, the contours and whatever else. But at this point in time, I'm recommending that we deny the plan based on that information not being there. And we notify the applicant in writing in accordance to what's required to do that.
Thank you. Other comments from members of the board?
Yes, I have one, and I was a little confused. I'm sorry for the gentleman who just spoke, not Ken. I've
Mark.
lost face. Mark, Mr. Lavalley.
Yep.
And the one hand, it's a parcel, but then you also said that you're discussing with DPW about sewer and water access, I believe you said, which it really is an issue about a lot. I mean, if it's not buildable, a parcel by definition is not buildable. So I'm really confused about a submission for a plan for a parcel, but also discussions about making it usable for a building by building the appropriate infrastructure. There seems to be a contradiction there. So what's happening?
So our client, and so in the future, we want there to be the ability, the reason it's not a buildable lot is because it doesn't have access via its frontage.
Right.
So in order to make this a buildable lot, you need to go through the subdivision approval process, which now requires an open space development, and you need a special permit to not do the open space development. So there's a lot more, process and meetings to go to get this roadway extension and going through the subdivision process. What our client asked us to do is to create this parcel to be able to market this and say, hey, here's, you still have to do X, Y, and Z, but this can become a buildable lot with the certain steps that you have to take.
Do not agree with that statement at all. We're not in the business of signing off on a plan with the possibility that the developer can market it with that kind of language or thought process. I think it has to be clearly stated that it's not a buildable lot. It's a parcel and that's it.
Could I just, I'm sorry to interrupt. Could I just complete Mark's thought and answer Jonathan's question? It's not a buildable lot, it's a parcel. Because of the paper street is not constructed, there's no means of access to make the frontage viable. The reason that we are talking with the DPW regarding sewer and water about this parcel is that the existing house on 5 Mountain is currently served by an on-site septic system, which is found in failure. To get sewer for sanitary services provided to the existing structure on what's now, or what we're looking to be called Lot 1 of the 5 Mountain Ave structure, we're proposing an E1 ejector pump, a low pressure force main that will go within the paper street version of Mountain Ave and actually go and connect into the town sewer. That low pressure force main is the same size that would be required of any possible development connection needed for parcel A. So the conversations that we're having regarding any possible sewer connection is planning and showing that we're only going to install one force main and excavate within Mountain Ave regarding sewer once for the existing house with the possibility of future tie-in of this parcel.
Thank you.
It's tied to the lot then and not to the parcel. Is that correct?
The whole reason for the sewer is directly related to the existing house.
All right, thank you.
Yes, as you can see, we are planning for the future conversion of parcel A to become a buildable lot. But the actions that we're taking as far as sewer connection is directly related to the existing structure.
Okay.
That's not really part to this discussion though, Jonathan, tonight, I don't think. I mean,
just answering the question, and also
I appreciate that.
I like what you said, Nick. Thank you for saying it. But
and also, Mr. Diskin, if I could also answer your question about the desire to create parcel A. Parcel A, as you eloquently said, a parcel is not a buildable lot by definition. We are not proposing, we're not calling it Lot A. We're putting notes on the plan that it is not buildable. However, it does meet the frontage, if Mountain Ave was approved, granted. It meets all the requirements of lot shape, frontage, size, again, once Mountain Ave is constructed. So the additional language in note 2 regarding that parcel A is not a buildable lot is providing the reasons why we are showing a parcel that complies with the dimensional requirements of the underlying zoning.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with you, Nick. It's just,
That's fine. Now, the parcel
there's no
as
reason for the language.
provided also gives the current owner the ability and options to transfer that parcel to a direct abutter.
I agree. He can transfer it, but I disagree with, you do not have to put that language on there. It's strictly under the A&R information. All it needs to say is parcel A is not a buildable lot.
And I'm actually going to say, so when I looked at this also and saw this plan, I'm actually equally concerned. And my concern is that should parcel A become a developable lot, it does have to fall underneath our subdivision regulations. And I don't want to put the town in a situation where we are defending a statement on something we have accepted that says this could be a possibility. In other words, the language here can be seen as we're pre-approving it if this other thing happens in the future. And I agree with Mr. Diskin that I don't believe this language is appropriate on this plan as it currently sits. Any other questions from the board right now? I'm looking at the clock and we have neighbors involved. And I think, Susan, are you here as a neighbor? Susan, you put your hand up earlier, yes.
Yes, I'm here as a neighbor, but I'm also the town clerk, and I do want to clarify something. It is not accepted in the town records. The street is not accepted. I know there is a document that Mark Wetzel found that was signed by a previous town clerk that listed streets, and it has a signed, it's an old photocopy. And I went through that list. This was even before this came up. This was a few years ago. And there were several streets on that sheet of paper that are not accepted. Mountain Ave is one of them. So I'm not sure how that plays out in all this, but it has not been accepted by the town. So I can say that as town clerk. And as a neighbor, that brings up, there's a lot of concerns. I know so I'm on 4 Mountain Ave. I'm the first house on the left, and the neighbors that live at 6 Mountain Ave, I believe, are on the call as well. And we do have a lot of concerns because it's not, it's a 1-lane street, and there's going to be a lot potentially. So I know we're putting the horse before the cart on a lot of things and what we're talking about tonight, but there's just a lot of concerns. Most of my concerns have already been addressed by Mr. Diskin, so I appreciate that in the plan, because I just don't feel that it's some of the items on there just needed to be correct before going further for all parties involved in this. So I just have a lot of concerns, and with the extension of the paper road, it looks like a very tight and messy possibility, especially where there isn't any on parcel A. I have a lot of questions regarding the paper road, the wetlands, and the abutters. I don't know. I'm very shocked how it could fit and what would work out, but I know that's not exactly what's tonight, but I need to speak up and say, I have a lot of concerns about this.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak from the public? I don't see any hands, or by all means, just speak up if we may have more than one screen of people in front of me. Feel free to speak up. I did see somebody pop open. I'll give it a second. So to your Nick, if I may ask you, and Mark, I don't want to go around you, but you currently have a failed sewer connect. You have a failed septic on this property. And that's why you wanted to put a new force main in, correct?
Good, Mark.
Yeah.
Right, yep,
You don't need this A&R to be done for that force main, do you?
we do not.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, is it the Martin family? You have a question or a comment?
Hi, yeah, we are at 6 Mountain Ave. I'm John Martin. I'm with Jessica. We directly would abut the entire parcel is our entire front yard. Parcel A is what's beyond the edge of our yard. So we are greatly concerned about how that would affect both our property value and just the, you know, the whole street. Obviously, if they extend the road, it's going to change the way that our driveway is and the water and everything else out there. It will be a huge change to the entire street. So we have a lot of concerns with that. I do not know how any of that logistically would work. I know that's not what you guys are addressing right now, but I do agree that that language in there is concerning to me, being a butter of the entire 100 feet of the property there. But as we are the last driveway on the drawing there, you can't see any of that, but our house would essentially face directly this parcel A possible future building site.
Wildlife concerns.
We are, yeah.
Traffic concerns.
Yeah, traffic concerns, wildlife concerns, water concerns. Drainage would be a big thing. We already have, the road does drain into our front yard when it get downpours already. So I would be concerned about any of that.
And I'm going to ask a question, it may be out of, is there stormwater management on Mountain Ave now?
There is not. There
There
is
is no
not.
stormwater management.
No drainage, no nothing.
Our front yard is the drainage.
Yep. It drains.
Thank you.
Literally right into our front our front lawn becomes a swamp. Anytime that it rains, it comes right down the road into our property.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much. Any other members of the public would like to speak on this issue? Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Martin. Any comments from the board?
Well, I think we have to determine whether the applicant is willing to withdraw without prejudice. I'm going to make a motion to reject the plan.
We're over a half a mile apart, Ken. You read my mind. It's a little bit scary.
Okay.
It sounds to me, and I'm just going to put it on the table, I think we've got enough questions at this point that you might want to think about withdrawing without prejudice. The road ownership of the road is unknown. There are some issues about the way the drawing's been presented, and we've had some recommendations on that. Why don't I let you guys think about how you want to handle that?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and withdraw without prejudice.
Okay, thank you.
Clean up some of these answers.
Thank you. And I would recommend getting in touch with the town clerk's office to get the data she has on the status of the road also. As your client moves forward, that's going to be very helpful information, I have a feeling.
Is Mr. Pauling stating that basically he's going to submit a letter? Because we can't allow this to get constructively approved. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'll follow up tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate it. Any other comments from the board or anybody else at this point? Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Sorry to hustle you out of the room, but we're going to get to somebody who is very, yeah, go ahead.
Can you just vote, make a motion to vote to accept that verbal pending the Nick's letter? Just that way we can accept the motion, accept the letter to withdraw without prejudice at the meeting tonight. That way we're not getting in trouble with conditional approval.
Got it. Mr. Krantz, can you do your thing?
Okay, I'm just thinking of how to word this. Yes, I make a motion that we accept the developer's offer to withdraw without prejudice pending their submission of a formal letter for the, what do we call this property?
A&R 5 Mountain Ave.
A&R 5 Mountain Ave. Thank you.
Do I have a second, please? Ms. Murray seconded. I could tell you were doing it. Thank you. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
Ms. Murray,
Aye.
chair votes aye to accept the motion to accept the withdrawal without prejudice. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
Next on our list is the continued public hearing, special permit for 1 Nemco Way, Catania, Spagna.
Can you undo the screen, Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. You know, I've only had like one Zoom this week, so I'm not in my best form. Good evening, folks from Catania. How are you tonight?
How's everybody?
Fantastic. Do we need a motion to open the continued hearing? And site plan review?
Yes.
Yes, I would think that would be a good idea. Yep.
You want two, we have to do two, one for the special permit and one for the site plan review?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I make a motion to continue the public hearing for the special permit for 1 Nemco Way, Catania, Spagna Oils.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Hearing no discussion, Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Murray.
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay. Because they're probably going to end up being discussed at the same time, Jonathan,
me
would you
make that
also open? Thank you. Mhm.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for continued site plan review for 1 Nemco Way, Catania, Spagna Oils.
Seconded.
Excuse me, coughing fit. Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Hearing no discussion, Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Murray.
Aye.
Mr. Grants, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin. How do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mark, or you want to catch us up, or should I do the overview?
Yeah, if you'd like to do the overview, that'd be fine. I just wanted to let you know that I made DPW aware that in light of the Conservation Commission's recent finding regarding the pond feature, that it's a stormwater pond, not a jurisdictional wetland, that DPW will be starting up its detailed review of all the engineering that has been submitted so far. And I asked that that be submitted to us in time for the next meeting. So I see tonight's meeting is sort of an update of the issues that we discussed and the site visit yesterday. And just to make sure that Catania coordinates with our DPW to make sure that all the engineering issues are resolved as soon as possible.
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Mark. Yeah, just to bring everybody up to speed, we had a great site walk. We had a site walk earlier yesterday afternoon. We picked the coldest, rainiest day we've had to do a site walk. We seem to be good at that here in Ayer, and I want to say thank you very much to the proponents for taking the time yesterday to take us through the property. With that being said, do we have any comments from the board on this?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that in respect to the previous meeting's discussion of the plans and the engineer's discussion of the site of the stormwater management, and combined with the site visit, yes, I just want the public to understand that the work that's proposed for this is absolutely first class. That this is really deeply thought out, sophisticated, nuanced, and really there's nothing cheap or cut corner about this whatsoever. It really represents, as far as I know, really some of the best stormwater management practices available. I mean, this is really, the work proposed is really good work, and that's what I've seen. And I just want to assure people of that, because I understand it is a complex stormwater management project, but it's being met with a great deal of intelligence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I did receive an email from Bridget Souza at KNA today, and I know it came in late, but I forwarded it to the planning board, to have. I'm not sure if they'd like to walk us through any of that. I think it was an illustration of phases of the plan. I'm not exactly sure, but that might be a good use of our time this evening.
I'm open to that. And yes, Bridget, if you want to go ahead, please do.
So the email I sent today to Mark was just addressing some of the non-technical comments that the DPW had put forth in their draft letter. We understand that they haven't sent out their official letter quite yet, but we've been working behind the scenes to try to address those comments so that when we do have that final letter, we are prepared to submit revisions and address the letter immediately, just about. So the narrative that I sent out just addresses the operational aspect of what goes on at Catania. I know that Jonathan and Nathan were able to take a tour yesterday with us. So it just speaks to what goes on inside. And then the other thing that we sent was the sequence plan, just goes through the phases of, if I could also get permission to share my screen, goes through the phases of construction.
I don't know that I can give you permission, Bridget, but I can pull up your logistics on mine. Will that work for you?
I believe anyone can share screen now, so you could try. Yep.
Yeah, there you go, Bridget.
Yep.
Great.
So this is just the logistics plan. It walks through there would be 6 phases. Phase 1 would include construction of the stormwater system, parking lot area. Phase 2 would be doing the new curb cut. Phase 3 would be continuing the construction of this lower portion, so that this isn't set in stone in order to handle phase 4, which would be diverting the drainage from offsite flow into the new system. That way we could continue with phase 4. Sorry, that's phase 4. Phase 5, which would be dewatering this, and then start the construction of the building addition. And then phase 6 would be just wrapping everything up with the driveway area here once the building is in place. Do we have anything we want to discuss operations? Does anybody have questions about that portion?
No.
Okay. And we'd like just to open up the floor to comments from the planning board. We're hoping that, with what we've discussed between our site walk, that, we could move forward with an approval contingent on us addressing DPW's technical comments. So the rest of their letter, their draft letter, was more about stormwater, breaking up the offsite flow into smaller subcatchment areas so that we have a better idea of what's going on with our stormwater calculations. So like I said, we'll have all that to submit to DPW and to the planning board once we get that official letter.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bridget. Do we have any comments from members of the planning board?
I have one question for Bridget or for Mark Ashenbo. And that was Mark quickly went over the fact that the Conservation Commission had commented on that stormwater basin or retention basin. So could you elaborate a little bit on that for us, or for me, because I didn't hear that before.
Absolutely. Mark, I can take that if you like.
Yes, go ahead.
So we had our hearing with Conservation Commission last week. We partnered with Epsilon, who did the notice of intent. So we coordinated with Joanne and did some research. So their main concern was that that pond wasn't actually stormwater, that it was jurisdictional. And in part of that, it was because on the Nasoya property, which is adjacent over here, before this was developed, there was a pond on this site, jurisdictional. So when they developed this site, the pond was relocated with a compensatory wetland area. And through research, digging through the old files, we found the design for that. And it's the distinct, like Y looking feature. I don't have the aerial to pull up right now, but it was determined that compensatory area was developed inside the railway loop, which is approximately down in here. Oh, let me pull up that plan. Yep. Give me 1 second. in my way here. Here we are. So let me change the sheets. I'm just going to zoom in here. It'll be the easiest to see. So this piece of land here, this parcel, that's where that pond was reconstructed inside this railway loop.
Okay.
So between that, and we also were able to dig up calculations for the size of this pond to handle stormwater. Between those items, the board voted that this pond is in fact stormwater and not jurisdictional. And they approved us conditionally for our notice of intent. There's some technical stuff. We don't have our DEP file number. So they approved us, you know, that we get that and address any comments that DEP might have. We haven't seen anything yet, but Epsilon is working on that.
And actually, Ken, I sat in the bleacher seats during that meeting. And it's basically, there is no DEP number assigned yet, and they're waiting for comments back from DEP.
Yep.
Regarding the pond. I also think Joanne Christoph found a document in her files that coincides with what Bridget just explained happened at Nasoya back some years ago, that actually lists it as a detention system, not a jurisdictional pond.
Okay, good.
So they were actually, it went very well, as a matter of fact. I thought it was going to go in a very different direction, but it didn't. So all things considered. Any other questions from members of the board?
Chair.
Yes, Mr. King.
So I assume that we're going to have deeper discussions on the site work and the site plan. We covered it at a very high level tonight with the 6 phases. But I think there's a little more to dig in there. There's going to be time for that. Is that true?
Yes, if I could speak, Mr. Chair.
Please do.
And also, I spoke with Mark Wetzel today, and he indicated that some form of surety might be necessary to, make sure that the stormwater system is guaranteed, the functioning of it. So that's something to be discussed, but I think we can get into a little bit more of the details once we receive their initial or their secondary comments. Engineering wise, I think we'll have a lot more to work with. And I fully anticipate we'll be able to have that discussion at the next meeting.
And if I may, I have the luxury of not working in an office all day long. Mr. Wetzel did send a letter from the DPW copying to Mr. Archambault, copying Dan Von Skalkwyk and myself. And there are 2 comments in it. Yeah, I'm going to read I'll read it just flat. Bridget, you'll get this anyway, so you'll need this information. So it says, at the online meeting, the engineers stated that they had changed the design. I talked to Bridget this morning, and I will finish the DPW review letter based on the design as submitted, and they will respond to the comments with design revisions, more detailed design plans, and updated stormwater report. I assume that's what you agreed to this morning, or previous to this email. And then since the stormwater system is handling a large flow from offsite, the DPW recommends a construction and maintenance surety, and that's going to have to be worked out also. So now everyone's got all the information on the table. Fair enough. And we've also, our DPW is great. They do a lot of work for us, but they tend to try not to do the work more than once. And so I think we're in a good spot to start for that process at this point for all involved. Any further questions? Any further discussion at this point, I wonder?
Mr. Chair, I'll just dig in a little bit, just so I'm not so obtuse. I think it's a busy operation, as much as, I think that this is certainly, I agree, this is a professional group that we're working with on the plan so far, and what's going on inside that building appears to be very well run, but it's a busy operation from what I can see. And there's going to be a lot of traffic. It was shown, if you could go, Bridget, back to your 6-phase drawing there. You showed in the bottom, the blue hash there, the contractor staging temp facilities. I think that's not Catania's property. And so there's just going to be questions about access to that property. It's restoration because it's a big open field right now. As we get into the details of the site work, that's some of the things that I'm just highlighting.
I can actually speak to that quickly. Scott Whitney with Concord Building Services. So we've executed a memorandum of understanding with the abutter, Ardent Mills. Be happy to forward that over to the board. They're going to allow us to use that area of their property for staging. We have an agreement with them that we will restore it to its existing condition. And it will be just to keep temporary facilities and some construction materials out of the way, because you're right, it is a very busy site. So if it would help that we forward that memorandum of understanding off to you as a supplement, we'd be happy to do that.
I think that would probably be very helpful. One of the things that we typically do and we ask for is, it happens early in the process, don't know if it happened with you because we've been feeding through this with Zoom. We'd like to know that you actually have an agreement in place to actually work on the land you're proposing to work on.
Sure.
Last thing we want to do is say, go for it, and have somebody say, stop. Only because it's a headache for everybody at that point. I think you just sat through the last piece of, we just saw the A&R. They don't have that piece of land. It's ultimately what it comes down to, is they don't have control of the piece of land. So that would be very, very helpful. We also would like future generations to know what happened. That's why we're starting to actually keep really good records too. So I appreciate it. Other comments or questions from the board at this point? Mark, you did either Mark Wetzel or Dan give us an idea of timing on this? Or Bridget, can you answer that? Because I know you're going to send stuff over to them also, or?
Yeah, so when I spoke to Mark this morning, we discussed, his main concern was that we had talked about the fact that we wanted to switch the pipe size for the stormwater system. So I just told him everything remains the same. It's just switching the pipe size from 120 inch to 96 inch pipe. And that's just because it's easier to get it on site. It's easier to handle and construct. So I told him that was the only major difference. Everything else remains the same, that we were ready to submit those materials that, like I said, the stormwater report, revised plans, a little more detail in them with the 20 scale plan for the entire site, split up over 3 sheets, etc. So I told him we were ready to submit all that. We were just waiting for an official letter from the DPW because it sounded like during our technical review meeting, we addressed some of the concerns that DPW had just by having a conversation, and that not all of those comments would be on the final letter. So he expressed to me that he would be sending out that official letter within a day or two, and then we would have material back to you guys within a day or two from that.
Great, thank you. We only meet every other week, so but thank you very much, Bridget.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Yeah, when you were standing there during the site walk and you said, "Oh, there's going to be 8-foot pipe here," it really brought it home.
Yeah.
You couldn't even reach up. I mean, that's it was interesting. Oh, by the way, did you figure out which filtering systems you were going to use in which place, Cascade or?
Yeah, it's marked on the plans. It's just like I said, it's just a matter of flows.
Okay.
Contact.
As long as DPW has it,
but-
because Dan and the other engineers there will be taking a look at it. So
absolutely,
that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else that we need to cover at this point, Mr. Archambault?
I don't believe so. I think, I'll keep communication going. As soon as I receive anything from DPW or from Catania, I'll forward it to everybody. And so we'll keep communication open between now and the next meeting. So I'd recommend that the planning board continue both the special permit and site plan meetings until the April 27th meeting.
There are no other questions or comments at this point. Mr. Krantz, please do your thing.
I got a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Diskin. Yes.
A question too, just a comment. For the benefit of the applicant, Bridget, are you aware we do have a street opening and access permit requirement as well in town?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure you dig that up because you want to put that through somewhere along the line.
Yep.
And we feel comfortable now that you feel comfortable, Bridget, that you've had enough time to talk before this board, because we didn't give you much time the last time. So I wanted to let the chairman know that if the applicant needed to do more right now and help myself and Mr. King, they have the opportunity to do that.
I mean, I feel comfortable what we discussed yesterday, and I mean, if Ken, there's any questions that you have, I can answer further. I'd be happy to.
And I'll
I
go with
think,
what you've got, but I just wanted to make sure you felt
Yeah.
that you were given the adequate a time to, continue making presentations,
yes, yeah.
despite Jeff's lack of doing that. Sorry, Jeff.
Well, while you were playing golf in Florida, I think the first thing I said to Bridget yesterday, or when we saw yesterday, was I have to apologize for making her wait as long as she did, to say as little as, to give her as little time as she had, and she did a really good job anyway.
I wanted to give it a second chance if you needed. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, to Jeff,
Yes, go ahead.
go over what Ken's discussing. None of the public that may be viewing this meeting was at the site visit yesterday, so maybe to go over some of the items that were discussed there would probably be really helpful.
Yeah, I can do that, absolutely.
Thanks.
So the major discussion yesterday was about the stormwater design and how it would operate. So I'll just pull out the grading plan and walk everyone through that. So as it stands today, stormwater from Mulberry Circle is collected in a series of catch basins and piped down to a small depression here, just across the street of Westward Road. It's piped underneath the roadway and makes its way down into this stormwater pond behind the building as it stands. And then on-site flow is, some flow is directed to this pond. And then additionally, this side of the building is directed to an infiltration pond in this corner of the property. So in the proposed condition, we would be routing that off-site flow and the existing flow from this area to a new proposed detention and infiltration system. It's a dual system. This portion over the existing infiltration basin will remain as infiltration. It'll be lined with a geotextile fabric. And then the upper portion of the detention system would be lined with a impermeable PVC liner to prevent any infiltration into the soils in this area. So we would be upsizing the pipe from Mulberry Circle, where we collected on our property, to a 30-inch and then down to a 36-inch, just to increase the capacity on our site at least. We would be adding some treatment with the proprietary unit separator. As it stands, there's no treatment for that flow prior to it entering to that existing stormwater pond. We will also be adding water quality units for our stormwater runoff as well. So this is one here for this portion of flow. And then there would be one over here as well that would handle the driveway flow and the building addition and water collected in a catch basin from this area as well. So this utilizes the existing stormwater outlet. It's a 24-inch pipe that goes to the wetlands. We would construct a manhole over that line. And then the outlet for the detention infiltration system will be utilizing an existing 18-inch pipe. And then overflow would be through a series of three-foot diameter pipes into a scour hole. And basically, a scour hole is just a depression in the ground lined with riprap stone to dissipate flows out of the system. And as it stands, is existing swale riprap lines. It's small stone though, for the most part. So we'd be widening this to 14 feet wide and enhancing that stone, upsizing the stone to further dissipate flows and allow for infiltration over the length of the building prior to it infiltrating and discharging into the wetlands. So that's the bulk of what we discussed yesterday. Additionally, Dan Brackett with Catania touched on what operations look like inside the building. If we want to go into that, we can. So essentially, they manufacture their own bottles on site currently with a machine that uses preforms. Essentially, it's like a balloon. It's a little plastic tube. It blows air into it and it forms to a mold that creates the bottles they use in their bottling of their various oils on site. So the building addition would allow them to bring in some more of those machines to eliminate some of the bottling that they have to bring in. As it stands, they're not able to make their own bottles, manufacture their own bottles for every single type of bottle they use in their operations. So they have to truckload in specific types of bottles to distribute their oils. So this would allow them to eliminate some of those trucking needs that they have as it stands today. Dan or Joe, is there anything else you want to add about operations?
So the only thing to add to that, Bridget, thank you. That was fantastic for not knowing a lot about what we do. You did a great job.
Oh, the tour helped.
So the only other thing is that there's some filling processes that we looked at when we went through the plant. We would have some very nearly identical or very similar filling processes in this space as well. So where we take those bottles and there's filler, capper, labeler, and then case packer to convert those containers to saleable items for consumers.
Dan, through the chair, is it fair to say that truck traffic would be reduced once you're complete, even though your capacity is going to stay the same or improve?
We anticipate truck traffic to be reduced, yes. So where we have those bottle trailers, it's a lot of trailers filled with empty bottles that come into us. So those would over time although we would be growing, those would be diminishing because as we come online with our machines. And then another phase was to bring in plastic resin by rail. So that would not come in by truck. And that would be put into silos on the back of the building where there's a concrete pad. And that is what we'd be using to make those preforms, as Bridget alluded to, those plastic test tubes that then get blown into bottles. So that would further reduce trucking because we're trucking those preforms into our plant right now.
And to touch base on what Dan said, the narrative that we sent over today discusses that process. And I just want to point out that system that would take the pellets from the railway train cars into the facility would be a vacuum system. So it has to be sealed in order for that vacuum to work, the suction to work. So that eliminates some of the concerns about pellets, escaping the system. It's a closed system.
Yep. So that was a question that some people had about the pellets or this pellets escaping or, debris from plastic. We would look, as Bridget happily said, we would look to use a vacuum system. So you can do it in two ways. You can use a Venturi, which blows the product, or you can use a vacuum. We would opt to use a vacuum because I've done this before, and the Venturi systems work very well, but when you have troubles with them, stuff goes everywhere. So we want stuff to go. We only want it to go where we want it to go.
I think it's important to address the congestion. I think there'll be congestion as this project goes on, but the net effect will be reduced congestion in the business district and associated traffic around this facility in the future.
Yeah, I think the net of everything would be that the business grows. So traffic decreases a little bit over time, and then the business grows. And basically there's a larger business at essentially the same traffic that we have today.
And
Thank you.
I'm Paul Chisholm. I work with Bridget here at Keach Nordstrom. One of the goals of this project is also they have a 2-level parking and maneuvering area right in through here today. Part of this project is to even that out. So this now becomes one big usable asphalt space in here, which will also help with the internal congestion and things like that. That gives them much more flexibility on site in the future condition compared to the existing condition today. So that is something that will also, greatly help them out in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the description of it. You're talking about rail cars delivering product. I actually saw that in another country once, in exactly this business, believe it or not. But that's a story for another day. Any other questions from people in the either in the audience or from the board?
I have one more.
Please, Ken, go ahead.
So Bridget, if you go back to the drawing with the stormwater,
Certainly.
the stormwater installation, the large and long piping system there. Are we looking at a system that is in place currently and that we can refer to, or is this strictly something that's been a modeling situation? Do you have real world experience when this company has these systems that are running?
Yeah, so we would be utilizing Contech to supply the product. As part of a large scale project like this, Contech actually sends out people to check on the construction process and see how it's going, make sure things are installed properly. They have thousands of projects that they've installed large diameter CMP pipe on. So if there's examples that you guys might want to see, there's certainly something that we can reach out to them and they'd be able to provide.
Okay. I just want to feel comfortable that we understand that we're not breaking the new wave here.
No,
building it on a consistent known system that's been used around the world or whatever.
So this size pipe is actually used at airports a lot, even larger size pipe. Yep. So it's something that definitely exists, and we could supply project examples if asked for.
Yep, and beyond that, that was why we made an important change down to a 96-inch pipe. Was mainly due to their recommendation based off of shipping, which is obviously a big consideration depending on where you are. Obviously, in air, in New England, there's some difficulties with that you got to work around and some logistics. But these guys are the leader, really, in big diameter pipe. So it's certainly not anything new to them, but we understand it's not every day you see a system quite like this either. So we'll work through all of that, and I think what we can do between now and the next hearing is just come up with some examples, maybe some pictures of construction sites in other areas using this type of thing, just so you can get kind of a feel for what it's going to look like through the process.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Just one last thing, as Jonathan indicated, we take this job very seriously. We're members of the community. I've been at the plant for 12 years. The company's been in business for over 100 years. We're not doing all this work because it's fun. We're doing all this work because it's, one, necessary, and two, we plan to be here for a very long time. And so we do it right, because we don't, I don't want to have to deal with this. So, I think hopefully when you guys that came through the plant saw that we attempt to do everything to the best of our abilities.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Seeing, I think, why don't we close these continued public hearing and site plan review, if you don't mind, please, and then we'll take care of a couple logistics for the evening. Mr. Krantz?
You need a motion to continue the next meeting, correct?
Yes, please.
Yes, I make a motion to continue the public hearing for the special permit for 1 Nemco Way to our next scheduled planning board meeting on the 27th of April.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Not hearing any discussion. Ms. Murray, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Thank you.
I make a motion that we continue the site plan review for 1 Nemco Way, Catania Spagna Oils, to our next planning board meeting on April 27th, 2021.
Seconded.
Seconded by Ms. Murray. Ms. Murray, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King,
Aye.
Mr. Diskin,
Aye.
Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies from Catania Spagna. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Mark, we have time for a town planner update tonight.
Wow, but I actually don't have anything.
Works
So,
for me.
Hey.
That's okay.
maybe next time.
That's why
That's
we like
fine.
you,
Right.
Mark. Thanks.
In all fairness, Mark has been swamped the last 10 days. We've done our best to keep him on. We haven't even been doing it. The world's been keeping Mark on his toes.
I know things are they just come in and questions about this business and that business and inquiries. And yeah, it's been very busy. But
So administrative announcements, old business. We have anything? I have nothing on the. I assumed we'd use the whole evening for everything on our agenda tonight, so I don't have anything in the way of old business. I don't think anybody else does either. New business. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And excuse me, sorry, I'm going to stop. Time out. I sent an email out on May 11th is a town election. We cannot meet that evening.
Right.
May 12th is the proposed time. We got to lock it in with APAC. Can people do Wednesday night, May 12th?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Mark, would you please follow up with Cindy and APAC on that one?
yes,
Great.
Yep.
I appreciate it, guys. And I hope to see some of you, if not all of you, at the town meeting coming up. With that said, now can we adjourn?
The important person just came onto the screen.
Who's that?
Elliot.
Which one? Hey, Elliot.
ah,
And we gotta give a shout out to Gus too. Gus came in a couple of times.
You got kicked out to bed, but it's a family affair.
That's okay. Okay, guys, motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.